High Horror Society. It's the High Horror Society. Oh yeah, it's the High Horror Society.
This evening we watched the 1985 classic Return of the Living Dead.
Classic.
Yes, it has been a while since I've seen this movie, and I really wanted to see it again. And I talked to you about it, and you said you hadn't seen it yet.
Never saw
so I was like, this is perfect because this is right up at both of our alleys in terms of movies that we both said we liked and the ones that we reviewed and enjoyed.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
it was. I knew it was just be a perfect fit for this podcast too.
It made me laugh. It made me cry. it had everything in it. It was perfect.
It was a well of emotions. It really was. So yes, Return of the Living Dead. I'll go over the little synopsis that I copy and pasted. Return of the Living Dead is a 1985 American horror comedy film written and directed by Dan O'Bannon. The film tells the story of how a warehouse owner, accompanied by his 2 employees, mortician friend, and a group of teenage punks, deal with the accidental release of a horde of brain-hungry zombies onto an unsuspecting town. The film is known for introducing the popular concept of zombies eating brains as opposed to just eating human flesh like previous zombie iterations, as well as the soundtrack, which features several notable death rock and punk bands of the era. The film was a critical success and performed moderately well at the box office. Its enduring popularity has spawned 4 sequels and turned it into a cult classic, which it certainly is.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can say I've watched this movie several times. Every couple of years I bring it out and watch it, usually around Halloween too, which is kind of weird. I don't know why. It doesn't ever really have that feeling, but like
True.
I don't know. It
fits the vibe.
It does kind of fit the vibe of Halloween for sure. You know, it's kind of campy and kooky, and the music is silly, and
Definitely.
like the
I love the
synth
music.
and like
It's
the
awesome.
weird shit that just happens in the movie. Like it does. I think it's one of probably the perfect Halloween movies, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, every year you watch the classics like Halloween, of course. John Carpenter's classic.
Of course.
You know, Trick or Treat. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I don't think so.
We should watch that. That's it's more of a modern one.
Probably not,
Yeah.
but I'm down to watch.
It's
whatever.
good. It's again, it's in the same vein. Like, it's kind of silly. It's kind of dark humor.
Right.
But it's definitely horror. But it's just fun. You know, it's just fun
Let's put it down
Halloweeny
on
type
the
of fun.
list. Let's
Fun
watch it.
Halloweeny type of fun.
Yes, Halloweeny.
Jesus Christ. So yeah.
Halloweeny.
We should just jump into fun facts because honestly, dude, there are a ton
A lot.
of fun facts and oopsie daisies and all sorts of fun crap
I
going on
know just
here.
a few oopsies.
Yeah, there were a couple in there. The one thing I did notice as I was glancing over these notes is some of them are conflicting. So if I start to read one that sounds like it's conflicting with one that I read previously, these are posted by users like people, assholes like us who just watched the movie. So
Okay.
it's possible they were mistaken. Like one of the persons in somewhere mentioned that the 2 characters, Bert and Ernie, were based off of the Sesame Street characters, Bert and Ernie. But there's another post that says later on that that's not true. That's actually has nothing to do with it. So we'll get into it. But anyway, fun facts. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's
do
go.
it.
So this I did not know already, that the film was actually first a novel by John Russo called Return of the Living Dead. So I had no idea that it was a novel beforehand. And so the little story behind this I did know when John Russo and George A. Romero parted ways after they made Night of the Living Dead, their classic film.
Yep.
There's a big legal battle and issues and stuff happened, but basically John Russo, he retained the rights for any movie with Living Dead in the title. So, and George Romero was also then free by relinquishing that to make any other sequels that he wanted. So he took on the Of the Dead, so Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead,
Right.
Land of the Dead, all those movies. So those were all George Romero's, the late George Romero, who just recently passed away, actually.
Ooh.
So this John Russo guy, he took the Return of the Living Dead and he just went forward with it. So originally, John Russo and his producer Tom Fox, they wanted to make Return of the Living Dead in 3D and have Tobe Hooper direct it,
Okay.
who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
I
it was
like
kind of
that.
like a cool thing. So
And in 3D.
and in 3D, this is back in the
Whoa.
80s. Yeah.
Oh.
So obviously that fell through.
Okay.
And Dan O'Bannon was brought on give us like kind of polish up the script. He was eventually offered the role of director. He took the role as a director only if he could change the script.
Okay.
And apparently the script that this Dan O'Bannon guy has is in the movie that we have now is it's almost nothing like the original script
Really?
and what was in the original novel. So I was really curious to see like what the original novel's about.
Yeah. What
So-
did he keep it from the novel, and obviously what
Right,
did he
what
do
changed.
outside of it? Yeah.
Yeah. So he apparently later on, John Russo, the guy who wrote the Return of the Living Dead,
Mhm.
he later made another faithful adaptation, a novel of the movie, a novelization of the movie, and so I'm kind of interested to see like the difference first of all between the two novels, and then the original that he had, and then this one that actually was a novelization of the movie that got changed dramatically from the novel that he wrote.
Mhm.
But it's just interesting. So the reason why they did it was because Dan O'Bannon's script differed from Romero's, and it took a more of a comical tone, obviously, as you could tell.
Yeah.
So it's a
definitely.
lot more funny. It has more slapstick and morbid humor and stuff like that. So you definitely saw that,
Yeah.
and it's got
I
more.
love that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
great.
Morbid humor, violence, crazy amounts of unnecessary nudity. All these things
Just,
are
like,
just great. right?
Random. What?
I love that. That's
Yeah,
my
it was
favorite part of the
perfect.
movie. Just the God.
Did they have to go that deep into all the craziness? The
Yes, they
partying?
did. Yeah, the
Yes, they
partying in the
did.
cemetery. We'll get into it, but man, I just love that part. Like, oh man, get some light over here. Trash is taking off her clothes again.
They're
It's
pulling
just
out
like,
flares and
well, yeah, he's just got it at the ready.
it's like an 80s metal
Yeah.
music video.
It's like this is what teenagers do on a Friday night.
Yeah, break into a cemetery.
Break into a cemetery,
I feel like
stripped
it's
down.
naked.
It's like every 45-year-old stuck-up parent's worst
Yeah.
vision of terrible teenagers.
What's
like,
my daughter doing
what's my
tonight?
daughter- let me tell you, she's dancing nude on some gravestones
And her
while people
nickname
with
is
flares
Trash.
swing around behind her and dance. And her name is Trash.
Trash.
And this
Oh,
isn't the first
man.
time she's done it because
No, yeah.
obviously
Again.
it's
She's
like-
taking off her clothes again. All right, everybody.
and
Turn
everyone
up the
lines up
music.
and starts getting ready. Oh, jeez.
What are you on? What are you high on? High on
Whatever it
life?
was, I want whatever she had
It's
because
that-
she looked like she was having a good old time for
It's that
sure.
zombie drug.
Must have been PCP, right? But this I thought was interesting. So the movie's set in Louisville, Kentucky. They mentioned that a couple times,
Mhm.
but it was filmed in California, obviously.
I thought it was in L.A.
yeah,
like,
it looked
but
like it.
It was totally L.A.
It kind of had
scene,
that like
yeah.
feel. I don't know. It's weird. But the only scene that was actually filmed in Louisville, Kentucky, was the shot in front of the gate of the cemetery. So that was the only shot. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the Louisville police uniforms and patrol cars were all period correct at the time, apparently. So that is a fun fact.
I
I
like
had
it.
fun reading it, and you had fun listening to it, right?
I did.
This was interesting. So the Tar Man zombie, that really cool one that was in the basement,
Yeah.
he was performed by actor and puppeteer Alan Troutman,
Okay.
and he's best known for his work on Jim Henson's The Muppets.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, he's
He's a professional.
He sure is. He sure is. What else is on here?
Wait, was that the lady?
No,
the-
that was the Tar Man one. The one that. like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, the big guy.
Yeah.
the
The one
one
in the basement.
prying open the
yes.
locker.
Yeah, the one who was smart
How
enough
is he
to
so smart?
to chain the thing around and pull the
Wow.
lock off. Yeah, that was him. There are so many fun facts.
clever.
So
Clever tar man.
this is interesting. So yeah, obviously this is the first. Pretty much every time there's like a parody of zombies, it's always them moaning brains or something
Mhm.
like that, and that
Yeah.
obviously came from this movie. Like that, this is where that started.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is because it's like that is so like.
That's what
People-
zombies do.
That's
like
what zombies
everybody
do.
knows.
It became, but it's not that old though. Like that's 85 is
True.
32, 33 years old. So it's not like
It's not
you know,
that old.
no,
It's
it's
not
really
like
not.
Everybody knows like vampires suck blood, and that's
Right, but
probably
that's
like
been around
thousands of
for,
years
like,
old.
Fucking centuries,
Yeah,
since like
but
the
zombies.
1800s. Zombies eating brains has only been around for like 30 years, but it has become like a part of the lexicon of zombie.
Definitely.
Zombiedom. It's like
Yeah.
oh, zombies want brains. It's like that's it. So that's kind
such
of
a feat of-
interesting. This film was so impactful that it like literally changed
That's awesome.
zombies and the way we make fun of them. Like
Yeah.
and I think the humor in that was part of it.
Mhm.
But this part always fucked me up. So the part where they have the old lady zombie who's all half torso,
Yeah.
just from the spinal cord up and whatnot, and she says like, the eating the brains eases the pain of death
Yeah.
and like rotting. I saw this movie for the first time when I was like 10 or 11 years old. That part fucked me up still to this day. No, like honestly, after I heard her say that, I was like, I want to be cremated when I die. I kid you not, I shit you not. This movie is the reason why I decided that I want to be cremated. Because
Probably did that to a lot of kids
yeah,
too. Like,
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. You let me know, because I
Leave
was like,
a comment
leave a comment if
social
anyone's
media.
listening.
if you
But
are not the only one.
The feeling herself rot like that, that weirded me out. I don't know.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy, right? I don't know.
How long was she rotting for? Because that's a lot of pain for a long time.
That is a lot of pain, yeah. But so yeah, I mean, this has been spoofed in South Park and The Simpsons
Mhm.
and just like everywhere. Like this has been like mimicked and parodied over and over again. So, like I said, it's become like a part of zombiedom. Like
It is. Yeah.
so it's kind of interesting how impactful this one little movie was out of the literal thousands of other zombie movies out there. Like this is the one that started that and planted that seed that kind of developed. But some other fun facts about the movie: the budget for this movie was only $4 million at the time, so probably at the time pretty expensive. But
Yeah.
by today's standards, $4 million is like low
Oh,
budget. You
yeah,
know?
that's pretty huge. Pretty cheap.
It grossed its money back its opening weekend.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's cool.
So that's good. And then the gross total in the U.S. was $14 million. So not
Oh,
too bad on a $4 million
nice.
budget. And this is back in like olden day, 85 days. So, I
And
mean,
that's like
with social media marketing and crap now, like
Yeah,
you can
oh,
imagine
yeah.
it would be like,
that's all like just word of mouth, especially the
Really?
first weekend or the first week it's open. Like word of mouth of getting your money back. Like that's pretty sweet.
yeah,
That must be it's good and it's spreading around the country quick.
yeah.
Go watch that movie.
Mhm. Oh, so apparently there's a phony disclaimer that precedes the movie. I didn't see this, but it says that the events portrayed in this film are all true. The names are real. The names of the people.
I saw that in the beginning.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, it precedes the movie. I thought it was after the movie. Okay, so yeah, I did see that. Then I don't know what I was thinking, but I loved how they tied it into the original Night of the Living Dead. That was I always thought that was really cool.
Okay.
How
I
he-
didn't see that one.
He talked about it was in the very beginning where he talked about to the kid. He's like, "Hey, you remember that movie Night of the Living Dead?" And the Freddy's like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember it. The
Yeah.
zombie movie." He's like, "Well, that actually happened."
Mhm.
And this army fucked up and sent
That's
him here.
right.
And he's like, "What?" He's like, "In the movie, the world got taken over." He's like, "He changed it for the movie." And that's kind of how it started. So I've always thought that was really clever, because that was like the first time as a kid, again, like me watching that, where I saw something like breaking the fourth wall. Like, you know what I mean? Like it
Mhm.
was just like, I could definitely, I don't know. It was just crazy to me. When I blew my little 10-year-old mind for sure.
Whoa.
But Jesus, there's so many fun facts. So let's keep going.
Too many. Can't even count. What number are we on?
Yeah, we are. I did not.
Can't even count.
I did not start
all
counting
good.
these. So here we go. Let's see. So this is interesting. In an unprecedented move, a fan film started an internet campaign to get the movie released on DVD. Going beyond simple fan petitions, Michael Aldred created a web page consolidating every bit of news relating to the film and contacted many of the film's principals, including the writer and director. He went on to put O'Bannon in touch with MGM Studios that owned the film and began work on getting the film released on DVD. O'Bannon and others who worked on the film accredited Aldred and his campaign for getting the movie released on DVD, also on Blu-ray. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
So because of this guy, we have this movie now on DVD and Blu-ray, and then
Yeah.
possibly streaming too. So, I mean, how many movies of the VHS era never got a DVD
True.
copy that just
Yeah.
there's nothing, no digital copy of it anywhere, so it's just we're never gonna see it again. You know, I mean that's gonna be crazy
That
to
is
think
pretty
about.
crazy.
You know, it's like that's nuts. There's something that is never gonna happen.
And that was one guy got
started
that
an
whole
internet
thing
campaign
going.
for
That's
it. Yeah,
awesome.
this is interesting. Some of the zombie extras were paid more to eat real calf brains in the film. Yeah.
Just for the illusion of like eating brains.
This is cool too. So the director didn't want the actors to do anything he wasn't willing to do himself, so he ate raw cat brains first in front of all of them. Or not cat brains, calf brains. I'm sorry.
Calf brains.
Yeah.
Calf
Cat brains. Jesus.
Okay.
This took a morbid turn. Why is it better that it's a cow?
I don't know.
Why is it okay that
It's not like
you eat
someone's
calf brains?
pet.
Are you sure? People could have pet cows.
Oh, of course they can, but
Yeah.
cats are definitely more like, oh, fluffy.
Right. It's
not
just
like, oh,
they've
four
become so
stomach.
tame and so docile, and a
True.
cat is something you
But-
pet in your lap, but a cow is something you eat and drink.
Cows are
its
so sweet though, too.
baby juice.
But
That
baby
juice is for its babies.
Oh yeah, it's the pus for the,
The pus
calf,
for the babies.
not for you. Lactose intolerant, y'all. What else?
Oh, this is good.
Oh wait, before we carry on,
Yes.
hold your mic like this, and the table is shaking, and all the cameras are.
Oh, is it?
So let's just be a little bit more cautious.
I'm sorry.
For the
I'm sorry.
viewers.
This
It's
is
all
the first time we're filming,
good. It's all
and
good.
here I'll move it out like that. Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So this is interesting. So while shooting the scene with trash dancing on the gravestone,
Yeah.
the actress was completely naked and showed pubic hair, which was the norm in the 80s. The
Mhm.
producer had just so happened to visit the shoot that day, and he threw a fit. And he yelled at the director that's saying, hey, you can't show pubes on television. So the director was like, okay, sent her back and had her shave. And then she came back, obviously, to finish the shoot. And then the guy was even more pissed. Sorry, I hit my glasses there with the mic. He was even more pissed because you could see, like, everything, obviously.
Yeah.
So they
What
sent
do
the
you do?
actress over to Bill Munns and William Stout, which I don't know who they are. I'm sure they're like makeup guys or something. And they were able to make a crotch piece resembling the bottom of a G-string, and they glued it on. And according to the actress, this was a bit of a problem since every time she had to go to the bathroom, they had to remove it.
Oh God.
So there are actually no shots of her completely naked with the crotch area, even though it looked like it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty
I
interesting.
was surprised. I'm like, she's totally naked.
Yeah,
like,
it
they
was so
actually
weird. That always
aired
weirded me
that?
out
I
as
was
a
like,
kid. I don't know. That scene
jeez.
always freaked me out and turned me on at the same time. It was just like,
That's what they
I don't know
wanted.
how to deal with this.
I don't-
Now I know that
Now
type
I
of
know.
trashy girl stuff gets me going, but
Trash.
trash.
It's
And
the
her name
tra-
is Trash too. Oh, jeez, I love it. There's nothing
Uh,
more fitting than that. I love that
that's so
part.
funny.
That's so amazing.
Trash.
Let's see, what else do we have? I went through and I bolded some of these because these are some of them are pretty good. Oh geez, there's so much here,
So many
man.
thousands and thousands.
There's
and
literally
thousands.
hundreds. The movie was shot in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Right? That's what I'm saying. 6 weeks to shoot all
That's-
that. That's pretty fucking
mean,
impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's
to do all
special
that?
effects, and that's like all that stuff going on. Because I mean, this
Wow.
wasn't like this isn't like today where you do all of the special effects and stuff in post. Like they had to actually have the puppeteers and stuff on set doing
Yeah.
these stuff. You know, that the face, we noticed that when the woman was on the table on the gurney and they were making her head move, you could see like them, like you could tell that someone was just under the table making a move, but like it was so
Mhm.
realistic,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Like the spine moving
yeah,
with
it was
the head
jarring.
shaking. It's
Still,
like,
even
oh,
after
wow.
all this time,
Yeah.
after 30 some odd years, man, like it's still like
Really
I-
good.
it looked amazing.
Mhm.
And you don't like you can't get that with like computers and stuff because there's always going to be better renderings and stuff
Of
like that
course.
later on. And eventually it'll get to the point where it's indiscernible from reality. It's almost like right there
Yeah,
right now.
it's pretty close.
But still, like there's something to say about that that technique and everything. You know, it's absolutely just like it needs to be treasured for sure because if
Mhm.
we can't have Like, and there's still a place for that type of stuff too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
every couple of years there's a horror movie that comes out, like The Void.
That's right.
That's like it
They had a
touts
lot
and
of-
it hangs its hat on the fact that it is a practical effects movie and
Mhm.
stuff. I give a lot of shit to CGI and stuff like that, which is I love CGI and
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
not
great.
bad.
Yeah,
but,
it's not bad when it's done well, but there's something unique and talented about that whole like chopping someone's head off and making it look fucking real, And making
Still
it sound
moving
real
around.
too.
True.
The cemetery. This is another funny one. The cemetery is called Resurrection Cemetery.
Oh yeah.
How fitting,
That's
right? Yeah.
Where are you at? Resurrection Cemetery. Was he on the phone calling the?
Yeah, he did.
The
He called the
paramedics?
phone and he said
Was it?
Resurrection Cemetery. The actor Tom Matthews, who played Freddy, he got his ear pierced for the role. So
Okay.
that is some dedication right there,
Nice.
right? Yeah. Here's just another comment about the story. Something about the freezer door. Oh, geez.
Freezer door.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
Where
freezer
guy
door
was
lock.
stuck.
I don't know what that means. It's just the code for the freezer door. It was 22, 4, and 10.
Camera's moving.
I'm sorry, I was tapping the key. I'll just hit it. The director makes a cameo as the helicopter officer. He's the voice of the helicopter officer.
Oh, okay.
So that was a fun fact.
Nice.
So, yeah. There's the trash foreshadowing her death scene. Obviously,
Oh,
because
yeah.
she said like how the thing that's gonna make like how she like her most horrible way to die is to be torn apart and eaten alive by old men, and not 20 minutes later she gets torn apart and eaten alive
Yeah.
by a bunch of ancient zombies. So that was
Exactly.
kind of cool.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So oopsie daisies. So this is where we get into where the movie fucked up, and there's a lot of these too. Apparently when the zombie radio is for more paramedics in the background, you see a zombie eating and someone just laid back on their elbows, just hanging out and chilling. I didn't notice that, but
No.
apparently that's in the movie.
Wait, when was that? What scene?
This is when the
it?
zombie radio is for more paramedics.
Okay.
Yeah, remember more paramedics.
They did it with the cops too.
They did it with the cops. Yeah. But apparently there's someone just kind of
Just
hanging out in the
chilling.
background, chilling
Oh.
out.
We're recording.
The radio dispatcher, she says we have a 1032 from EMS, request a code 1051 code 3. The official police code 10 defines a 1032 as a man with a gun. A 1051 is a wrecker needed, which must mean a tow truck.
Okay.
And a code 3 is emergency lights and siren. So code 3 was the only reference they correctly used in that little tidbit. So
All right.
yeah.
That's going deep.
It
into
is
the
going deep.
coding
That's
and
why I
shit.
love these oopsie daisies, man. Because so these are submitted by users again who watch the movie. So it's not just like people who notice who are fans of film notice these fuck ups, but
Yeah.
everyday people like you and I.
Somebody who's probably a dispatcher is like,
Right.
well, that's not the right code for
Yeah,
calling that and that.
like when we were watching Chucky and we read the comment about how it's not in a medical facility
Yeah,
setting,
how
and
they
we were
are.
like, no shit,
they just go deep into
But
the.
they went deep into it, and they're
Yeah.
absolutely right because it is, and
True.
so that's why I love about this is it allows people from many backgrounds to comment on it and put their little own spice of life on it, I guess. So I thought that was kind of funny. This part I did notice right away, and I thought, well, maybe it's just a fuck up because but I'll read it first. So at the very beginning, when Frank is reading the order to Freddy. He says we need 2 female skeletons with perfect teeth, and he makes a big deal
Mhm.
about how to fill the order and fill the thing, but they only ever box up 1 skeleton.
Yeah.
So I noticed that maybe they're gonna throw another one on top of it. Maybe there was one underneath
Oh,
it
I didn't
already.
even
I never
catch
really thought
that.
about it, but that was I did notice that for sure. When Frank locks the door to the freezer containing the frozen zombie, it has a
Mhm.
white door. Later, the door is opened by Freddy. After which Birch bludgeons the zombie with the reminding axe. Where the fuck did they get that too, by the way? He just had
Yeah.
it.
He
And the
went
door is
out
a
of
completely
frame.
different color. It's dark tarnished metal instead of painted white. That's kind of
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
he,
yeah, where
he
the f-
ran out of frame.
Where did he
comes
get that
back
pickaxe
with the
from?
axe.
It's a medical supply company. Is that a sterile pickaxe, Kyle?
I don't know. Probably
just-
not.
But what a great place to have the movie unfold. The
Oh, yeah,
setting
perfect
itself is
location,
just so
yeah.
funny. The cats, the half dogs and animals
Half-
moving And he's beating the shit
Like,
out of it
oh
with
my
the crutch.
God,
Like,
that was so bad.
it's just so much of this
I was like,
shit.
oh, poor. That's when I cried. I was like, oh, poor doggy. Half
Yeah.
doggy.
half
Half
doggy,
dog
half
is
dog.
alive now. And he's like, oh, shit, I'm in pain.
Yeah. Oh man, that was great. What else do we have? Let's see. The punks open the cemetery gates when entering the graveyard. They were still open when Tina goes in to see Freddy, and they were open when Chuck and Casey were being chased by zombies at the warehouse, and they were still open when Trash comes out. But when Bert and Spider are driving, they drive through the graveyard gates. I never really noticed that. I just had always assumed it was a different gate. Maybe.
I remember that. He just
Yeah,
plowed.
that's
well,
true.
'cause
Though.
they
It was the
showed-
same exact gate, though. You're right.
They showed his car.
It was closed
that
the whole time. Well,
Suicide
I'll
guy's
be
car.
damned. That's very true.
They blasted right through.
When Spider and Bert rush out of the embalming room toward the police cruiser, a character can twice be seen quickly looking through the sliding peephole in the door. The second time, it's quite obvious that the person looking out is not Tina or Ernie. So that's kind of funny. But then they were the only two in the embalming room at the time, so that's kind of funny. Let's see. When the basement door the basement door opens up and the tar man comes out, you could see the smears on the wall on the door where his arms slid. And then when the group go into the basement afterwards, there are no smears on the door or near the door. Yeah. Big fuck up right there.
Somebody's got to catch that.
Yeah, someone's got to catch that stuff. Let's see. What else do we have? Starting with the scene where Frank and Freddy wake up on the floor of the basement, the water and sweat stains on Frank's shirt change, getting inconsistently larger and smaller. I just assumed that was maybe just also like, the course of the evening, it dries and then gets gross again, or
maybe.
who knows, Jesus, let's see. Oh, I did remember that we did mention this when the tar man kills Suicide in the basement, and the half zombie kills the other kid. Remember the half zombie lady?
Yeah,
They drag her through the window and chop her in half because she bit the kid. They don't come back like Trash did.
True. Oh yeah.
Why didn't they? That's a fuck up.
I don't know.
Because I said that when they walked down in the basement. We're like, oh, that
Suicide
guy's
was
gonna get back
still-
up, and he
yeah.
never did. Which I've seen this movie before. I've never thought about that. That's interesting. These fun facts or these oopsie daisies are making me hate my favorite movie.
I don't want to read anymore.
I'm not gonna read these
I don't
anymore.
wanna
I'm
read
shutting it down,
anymore.
Kyle. I'm
That's
shutting
so
the whole
funny.
thing down.
Shutting it down. Too much.
This we noticed too. This is so funny. When Frank closes the dome on the canister, when it because it bursts open and he slams it down, and they leave the basement. In the next scene, it was open. I just assumed the tar man was fucking with it.
Yeah.
That's just what
And
I
then
always
they
figured.
went to go call the army again, and it was open. Didn't that one girl close it too when she got down
I
there?
think so.
When she was looking for her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a phone behind it the one time he closed it too. So I don't know. Maybe that was done intentionally to kind of make it have a bit of a creepy thing, because the first time I could totally see like, oh shit, they closed that lid and it's open now, so something's still down there, because we didn't know at that point in time.
Didn't know.
We just thought the zombie disintegrated because that's what the guy said.
True, yeah.
So I mean that's
But
interesting.
he was the tar man, right?
Yeah.
That was the guy
Mhm.
in the barrel.
So I just always assumed it was him fucking with it, but that's interesting.
Guess not.
When the movie shifts from the graveyard to the funeral home, it clearly states that the time is 9:20 on the screen, and then you look at the clock behind the dead body, and the clock clearly shows it's 10:20. Well, that maybe could just be daylight savings time, and no one turned their clock back.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm just saying that
Could
shit
be.
happens. Like sometimes I won't change the time in my car for like weeks and weeks and months until the point where it's like, well,
You're
if I
about an
change
hour
it
too
now,
long.
I might have to change it back in like a couple months. And so it's like not
Just
even
let
worth it. Just gonna let it run
Just
through.
let it roll over.
No,
It'll be
but
fine.
still, it's just funny. It could have been the mistake. Here are some issues where crew and equipment are visible. When Bert and Spider are in the cop car, they screech on the brakes to avoid hitting a horde of the undead. A cameraman can be seen in the back seat of the car, as well as the camera. So you got to look for red light, apparently.
All right.
Wow, they even give timestamps in this one. At an hour and 5 minutes, when the first two police officers arrive on the scene of the two disabled ambulances, a man with a black curly hair is visible in the back seat of the cruiser. That might be the cameraman, I would assume. through the rearview mirror. So that's interesting.
That's weird.
Another time-stamped one at around 8 hours and, or I'm sorry, 8 hours. It's a long fucking movie, guys. At 8 hours, 1 hour and 8 minutes. It's tired. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock at night, for Christ's sakes. At the moment when Ernie slaps Spider, remember he slaps him a couple
Dude,
times.
that was a hard slap.
He fucking beat the shit out of that kid. He beat the shit out of that
I
kid.
was like, how did he act through that slap?
Right. So anyway, when he slaps him, hang on, where did I lost my spot? Ernie slaps Spider in the embalming room and look to the left of Ernie. You can see the head and back of someone under the embalming table who is probably doing the puppeteer.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it says. Interesting.
Awesome.
Now we have to watch this again for all these fuck ups.
I know,
dude, because this
we're
literally
watching
keeps
again.
going. Like this just keeps. There's factual errors. There's
what
errors
time
in
is
geography. Yeah. What are we at? We're runtime right now.
We're at 31 minutes.
Are you shitting me?
Nope.
Oh my god, dude! Like I said, we could keep going. There's
I
tons
know.
of this stuff. There's a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. So anyway, let's just jump right into the reviews portion of it because
For
there's
sure.
so much to this movie. There's plot holes. There's revealing mistakes. There's so much to this. So anyway, let's jump right into the critical reviews and then what High Horror Society thought, and then we'll
For sure.
close it up for sure.
Let's do it.
So, based on what you've known of horror movies the past couple months, we've been watching them,
Yeah.
and we started watching them about this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie would be?
Oh man.
Keep in mind it is a cult classic, so
I
that is
know,
definitely
I'm already thinking like 7 or above just because of that.
it's. So Rotten Tomatoes is the one that's out of 100%.
Yeah.
So-
it'd be like 70 out of
70%, you
At
think?
least, no, it's got to be above that. So I'm just assuming because it's a cult classic.
I was surprised
But the look
by
on your
this.
face, you're like, oh, I don't know.
I was actually surprised. It currently holds a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That sounds about right. I was yeah.
impressive,
Yeah,
right? For
that's
a movie
fucking
like
good.
this,
Yeah.
like
That's really good.
I'm sure at the time, again, it's a cult classic, so we know what that means. Like
Mhm.
there's, time kind of, irons out all the issues, and
Of
people
course.
see past it. Like Rocky
Yeah.
Horror Picture Show was slammed the first time it was released, you
Yeah.
know, and like now they show it at midnight,
Yeah,
at a
it's-
bunch of theaters,
yeah,
and people
everybody
dress
loves
up
it.
and shit. So yeah, it was a 91% approval rating
Nice.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
pretty good.
It was nominated for 4 Saturn Awards. So here's the
There's that
Saturn Awards
Saturn
coming
again.
back, man. This must have been. So let's see, what was the one the movie that we watched the other day
What was
won? It was like the
that?
43rd, and so there were. So this must have been like the 15th Saturn Awards or something.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
That's, damn.
Dang,
What
son.
was the first Saturn award?
I don't know. We
wanna
should
know
look
that.
this up. We're gonna do a
Alright.
whole episode on the Saturn Awards.
Let's do it.
But it won Saturn Award for Best Horror Film, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Makeup by the Academy of Science Fiction,
Nice.
Fantasy, and Horror Film. So that's pretty cool. So yes, Robert Ebert gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, saying that the film is kind of a sensation machine made out of the usual ingredients, and the real question is whether it's done with style. It is. Stephen Holden in the New York Times called the film a these fucking words. Mordant punk comedy, stating
Mordant.
that it is by no means the ultimate horror movie as it aspires to be. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be the. I never got the sense that it's supposed to be the ultimate horror movie. Where in the fuck?
No,
Some of these critics come off
they're too critical.
with horror movies, especially. Like,
Yeah, that's-
horror is a
yeah.
tough genre because there's horror comedy and there's action horror and there's
So many
sci-fi horror and
subgenres.
there's
So
occult horror.
many.
It really I kind of feel like horror has its place in every genre almost. Like it's not
I'd say
it is
so.
a genre in itself, but it
It can blend well.
yeah, it
very
blends well with everything. It's
Mhm.
like it's like Coke. It goes well with everything. You can have a Coke with a burger.
Oh.
You could have a Coke with
That-
not that Coke.
I was like,
It's just Kyle's
what?
like, yeah, I can see that.
I can relate
Oh
to
yeah, it is like Coke, Zach. Yeah,
Wow.
let's go. Give me another key bump.
What? Well, it's late at night. I mean,
It's
we
late
need
at
some
night.
energy.
No,
Ooh.
like Coca-Cola. I'm sorry.
You gotta clarify.
I gotta
Zach.
preface this with
God, I'm
fucking.
all excited.
So like, yeah,
Huh?
it's like a soda beverage
a soda pop.
that goes with everything, like
All right.
Dr. Pepper. There you go,
I
Dr.
guess.
Pepper. Can you see an instance where Dr. Pepper doesn't apply?
Yeah, when you're doing Coke.
When you're doing Coke, when you're doing Coke and drinking Coke, Dr. Pepper is not what you need.
No.
So yeah. Anyway, you're like, horror is kind of its own genre, but it's also, like you said, it blends well with other things. So like, and this movie is really self-aware. It's not going like this pissed me off because it's just like the ultimate horror movie it aspires to be.
Yeah.
It never once seemed to tout that and like claim that it was. It's clearly a parody of itself. Like, it's clearly mocking the zombie genre and how ridiculous and stupid.
Goofy,
I
too
mean,
funny.
a fucking chick dancing naked, zombies coming up out of the ground and talking. They have no organs to speak or lungs to breathe out.
Right,
you know,
but
that one zombie lady was complete skeleton and rotted out. You know, and they're moving
Still
fast.
moving.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
really
it's just ridiculous. Like, I
Yeah.
would never look at this movie and say I take it seriously. Even watching the trailer that we watched that was from the 80s.
Showed the wife. She was laughing her ass off.
It's silly and stupid, and that's exactly what it is. It's
Too
like,
critical.
it's
Too
right
critical.
up there with like Shaun of the Dead,
Yeah.
Deathgasm,
Mhm.
Evil Dead, or Evil Dead 2 and stuff like that. It's right up there with those like horror comedy movies. And so that, yeah, and as I said before, so the High Horror Society thoughts. Kyle, please lay it on us. What do you got? What do you think? We'll do a rating out of 10 this time.
Out of 10.
Give me a number and tell me why. Go.
I'd give it a 9.
Yeah?
It's pretty close to that top 10.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, yeah, it was funny, made me laugh. It's pretty clever.
Mm-hmm.
And with all these facts you just shared, like it brought it up there even more now.
Yeah.
6 weeks in filming.
Right?
Like that's you got a lot done in a short period of time.
Hell yeah.
That's
and
pretty cool.
Totally impacted the entire zombie genre forever. It
Right.
forever changed it.
I mean, sometimes I think like when something takes longer, it's not as impactful, but when it's kind of not really rushed, but like, oh, we got it done in a short amount of time, there's less like overthinking and like, oh,
Yes, you
let's
just
get it
get
done.
to
And, like,
the
this is
basics.
how it is.
There's something about that too.
Yeah.
That you pull up your you pull up your bootstraps and you just fucking get it done. Like,
Yeah.
there's something about that too. You like you said, you cut the corners and stuff. And I can't believe I just thought about this now. But another thing that this movie really introduced was like quick zombies. And you mentioned this earlier.
were
Like, oh
quick.
shit, they're fast in this one. And it's like,
you can't get away from that.
yeah, and that's something we hadn't seen ever. Because like, again, we're all used to the Romero shuffling like zombies and like
dragging and
dragging
stuff.
their feet
Yeah.
and fucking down the road and stuff like that. This was the first, at least the one I've seen it, I guess,
too.
that had
Yeah.
like fast zombies. And then I don't think there had been one that really did that again until like 28 days later, which some people will
Okay.
be like, those are infected, not zombies. But I kind of include them in the same
It's
category.
kind of the same.
Zombies
And
are a
then-
form of infected, I would
True.
assume. So
Yeah, he
unless
had-
there's supernatural voodoo zombies, then which there's something different. So then it's a whole other genre.
Yeah, it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Which we're not in right now.
Now we're not getting into
talking
it
about,
now, people. We're
We're
not
talking
doing
about the
it.
rigor mortis zombies.
The rigor mortis, slow shuffling zombies, and then just the fast
the
ones.
fast
So yeah,
ones.
that's something I didn't really realize. Is it's probably one of the first movies I've seen growing up watching horror movies consistently that had the quick zombies in it. I'm sure
Fast.
there's a couple more that I'm missing, but
Probably.
yeah. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you on your rating, dude. I would
9
say
or
a
10?
9 as
Yes.
well. It's not the perfect 10, but god damn it, it's fucking hilarious.
It's pretty close.
It's the music is great. The acting is
Yes.
just perfect. Like, even for being crazy over the top as it is, they actually do a really good job selling it. Like,
oh
you
yeah,
know, like
totally.
yeah, you could definitely see like it just was a fun ride. It really was. At no
Made me
point
laugh
was I
so
bored.
much.
Yeah, it was just the ridiculousness of it. You know, the when they're fighting the cadaver in the medical room, the supply warehouse, and the three of them are all attacking the guy, and
It's
you know
so
they
funny.
drive the pickaxe through his head, and where the fuck did he get the pickaxe again? Like, he just like
Again,
had it
just
out of nowhere. He's just like,
comes
here,
back
use
into
this.
frame.
It's just like, where the fuck did this thing come
Then
from?
they separate the body and the head.
Yeah,
and
it's
still
just-
moving around.
It was
It's like-
just ridiculous. And then they're chasing the torso around, or the torso and the legs are like running around. They're tackling it and
So
tying it up.
funny.
And so it was like watching the Three Stooges or
yeah,
something.
like you
It was
said, everyone's
ridiculous.
moaning and just wrestling, and
Yeah.
things are being broken, knocking over.
Things are
There's
getting
a half
destroyed.
dog laying on the floor.
When the blind boyfriend zombie broke out of the chapel and he was like looking for his girlfriend, he's literally just running through the halls of the church, tearing everything off the walls.
Tearing down pictures. I saw him grab like the light from the wall and like kind of shake it, but didn't rip it all the way out because that would probably
It's
do like real damage.
They're probably like, no, don't do that.
yeah, just
It's
knock
like,
down the
that's
pictures.
not one.
and
That's not part of the set.
gets electrocuted.
Oh, God,
we'll
what a
keep
way to
that
go
in the
out.
shot.
But yeah, I think it's fair to say that I loved this movie, and I have for
Yeah.
a while, and I'm glad I was able to share this gem
Thank you
with
for sharing your horror movie knowledge.
No problem. Not
Yeah.
my knowledge, the internet's knowledge that
Well,
I just copy and paste into.
I wouldn't even known about it unless you shared it.
It makes me sound really smart when I sit and read all this stuff like
See?
I fucking know it all off the top of my head, right?
Well, just don't say you're reading it off the internet.
Oh,
and,
shit.
I know everything.
Yep, now you
Just-
saw behind the curtain, guys. Yep, it's
Behind
like
the
just like the
screen.
Wizard of Oz all over again.
Yep, we know who you are.
We know who we are. Yeah. Everyone knows who I am, unfortunately.
You're on camera now.
Yeah, oh shit, we are on camera now.
Ooh.
Oh god.
That's all right. We're not
Jesus.
going to use these cameras. It's all
No.
going to be audio.
Yeah, just audio only from now on. No more video. All right, well yeah, that's it. So 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Return of the Living Dead, a classic, a
Bravo.
1985 classic.
Classic.
Go see it. Check it out. It was on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and I saw that post on Reddit. So thank you, kind Redditor, who posted and let everybody know that it is on Amazon Prime to watch. I watched it immediately. Thank you.
Perfect.
And then
Thank
made
you.
a podcast right after.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes, we did.
All right.
All right, thanks everybody.
Peace.
Peace.
It's the